previous. He made it 1-1. Fulham haven't had an attack before or since. And when Julian Alvarez hit a rasping shot into the roof of the net to make it 2-1, it was more than adequate when you see how dominant City have been. But for Bernd Leno, the Blues would already have the points. But it's so far so good at half-time at Craven Cottage. It's Fulham 1, City 2. Well, let's go back to the studio and join Natalie.
Welcome back to Matchday Live. We're in the studio with Nedum, Joleon, Lescott and Izzy Christiansen as both our men's and women's team lead 2-1 at half-time. We'll have a quick talk about the men's team, then we'll move on to the women's team. We've been trying our best to watch both. We've got them on two different screens. It is harder than you probably think. I hope you have been trying as well. Of course, the women's game is available on City Plus and Recast. So, Nedum, City in that first half.
City men.
City men in that first half, well done.
Right, okay.
City men in the first half. We are celebrating after 1 minute, a penalty. Erling Haaland scores his 50th goal of the season.
You say 50?
50.
It's okay. That's an okay season, you know. It's not quite in May yet. It's got a bit of work to do. But yeah, it's spectacular. I think it was interesting that he stepped up to take the penalty because some people had discussions about will he take one again and so on, because I think Mahrez took the last one when he was on the field. But, you know, for them, I think they've got some relationship that knows who's going to be taking the penalty at any particular point. Great penalty as well, right into the side net, and keeper guesses the right way. And yeah, kind of set the tone for the first bit of the game. And it seemed like it was comfortable, but lo and behold, away from home in the Premiership, if you're not on it 100%, then you can be punished, yeah.
His 50th goal overall. Izzy, it's his 34th Premier League goal, which matches Andy Cole and Alan Shearer for the most goals scored in a Premier League season, except they did it when they'd played 42 games.
Right, so that's, like Nedum said, that's room for improvement, isn't it? It's insane, and I almost think, like, he can score more as well. Like, I know that sounds quite obvious to say, but the amount of times when players shoot and they can square it, and I know they're very unselfish generally in the City attack, but I'm like, there's so many more goals he could score as well. So just imagine what could be as well.
Yeah, because he looked frustrated, didn't he?
Yeah. in defence to that point that you made, the Andy Cole reference, because he's a legend, he didn't score any pens though. So you've got to take that in consideration. If we're using the game analogy as a factor, you've got to consider the penalties as a factor as well. But what he's done is remarkable, hands down.
They all count.
Former City player Andy Cole as well.
That's what I'm saying. So you can reference him.
Player Andy Cole.
You can reference him.
Former City player Andy Cole.
Thank you. Thank you. But in the first minute, so it was a penalty, and we're all pretty agreed that was a stone cold penalty. No questions there, Nedum.
No, I don't think so. You can see Tim Ream did make contact with him, and as a consequence, I think Joleon was saying they're not really going to be overturning things that much from this point forward. And I think
that was off the record, Nedum. I'm joking.
Let's cut that. It was never said. It was never a thing. You never heard a thing. Nor Elijah. But yeah, it was a nice touch from Mahrez. I don't think it was the best ball from Alvarez, but ultimately they're putting people in the box, making the right decisions, and yeah, it's a big moment so early in the game to be able to have an opportunity that clear away from home. It's a great way to set the tone, and dispatched it beautifully, let's say.
Beautifully, yes, indeed. Then City were very comfortable. However, in the 15th minute, there was a goal for Fulham, Izzy, and I think it caught us all a little bit off guard. It came pretty much out of the blue, but it was still a great finish. Yeah, it was. It was a good goal. I'm sure the guys would maybe be able to tell me a bit better about the centre-back defending involved, but I think it's good link-up play between, who was it up top for Fulham, and Wilson combining with Vinicius. Vinicius, that's right, yeah. And it's just a bit of good play between the two of them, nice relationship between them, and Diaz, I think Wilson's headed it into his path, and Diaz just isn't quite close enough, and he's connected really well. It's a really good finish, to be fair. But like the guy said, like, you've got to be on it all the time. You can't take your foot off the gas. And then obviously City got themselves back into it with that guy.
You know, I don't know if you agree with this, Jules, but thinking about it now, I think it's a good run from Wilson. They ended up on a Kanji. Is this one of those things where if you're not a left back and you're playing that spot, that look to the left, it's less instinctive, would you say?
Yeah, you could say that, but I think he's done the right thing. If there's a slight critique in there, and it's slight, it's probably Diaz, because he's dropped for the run as well. So there's obviously no communication or limited communication, because they're both doing the same thing. So if you're saying Kanji track, Diaz, stay with your man.
Yeah.
Then he reads a set. But it's hard as a defender. It's very rare when the ball goes over your head, you do the opposite movement, which is what strikers do.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I would look at.
To be fair as well, fair play to Fulham because they were testing the line. I
Yeah.
think we've seen some teams play against City and everybody comes short. And as a consequence, you're never really sort of threatening them as such. But the moment you feel the most uncomfortable, I believe, as a player is when you're running back towards your own goal. Because that's the one time you don't know the structure where everybody else is and you've got to react to stuff right in front of you as opposed to seeing the bigger picture. So, yeah, fair play to them.
Fulham's only shot on target in the half. City was 68% possession and 6 shots on target. City's next goal coming in the 35th minute. And, wow, what a goal. Who would like the pleasure of talking about this?
I think we'll all reference this, but yeah, stupid finish. Like, I think they thought it was a deflection when it first went in because it just was so clean of a strike. But yeah, initially as well, there's a drag back in there as well, which was nice to obviously create some space. But when you look on the replay, there were so many players surrounding him. That's probably the only place, the only angle he could finish that.
It's the fact that he thought about finishing it as well. I think it's amazing with so many people around him.
Yeah, and also, but he's got that in his locker. Like, he's a player who, he never seems to me like angry that he doesn't play, but he's that confident in himself that when he does play, he's not afraid to take a shot from the edge of the box. And he trusts himself, he backs himself. He's probably up there with one of the best finishers in the Premier League, inside and outside the box. And he's proven it. And like you say, for the penalty that he won earlier on in the game, it's clever. You know, he's had a massive impact on this game so far, and he doesn't play every week. He's a top player. 15
goals this season now for Julian Alvarez.
Sneaky, yeah.
Sneaky,
You know what I
right?
mean?
He's just doing his business, quietly getting on with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, it would be a tough spot to be in, to be the one who almost feels like you have to fill in for Erling Haaland as such. You don't necessarily want to be in that spot, but you stayed patient. Maybe it's easy to stay patient when you just won a World Cup. You know, you've probably got other things sort of making you happy as such, but he's done a great job whenever he's been called upon to come off the bench and even to start as well. And I like the fact that the two work so well together as well. Yeah. You know, it's a different sort of dynamic. I think the best time I saw it was, in my opinion, as it stands, was the second half against Bayern Munich at home when he took off De Bruyne and it was like, oh, is De Bruyne hurt? Is this going to be a problem? But then instead, Alvarez came on, played alongside Haaland, and that was City's probably best 20 minutes of the whole tie altogether. And to see those two link up the way that they can with the aggression of the press, the link up from midfield, I was like, yeah, that's a nice pairing to have, yeah.
It's a strange one, isn't it? Because like when Pep's come over the years, you're never thinking he's playing 4-4-2, 4-2-4 with 4 centre-halves.
Yeah.
Which he did against Bayern. He was like 4 centre-halves, like real centre-halves as well. So, yeah, the way he's obviously adapted this formation and the system is credit to him.
Other standout chances in the half. Jack Grealish had a couple. His best in the 26th minute when he hit the bar, and we were excited because it would have been a Haaland assist and a Jack Grealish goal, which would have been
wow,
nice.
Is that what we just in the game like that?
Wow,
we do.
See it again.
We want them to win, but we want our players to get us extra points, especially because we're still playing up against FG. If you watch the City FPL show, you'll know that there's a big feud going on there. But he's had a good half. What did you make of that chance that hit the bar?
Yeah, it was a good chance. I think he had one quite similar earlier in the game, which he just hit straight at the goalkeeper. But I think that's the game we were talking, obviously, in the pre-show about Jack Grealish's kind of evolution at City. And for me, one of the areas where he's needed to improve is his consistency in the final third at scoring or assisting. He gets in those situations. And today we've seen him, he's had 2 good chances. He hasn't scored.
The chances he's created have come from being patient and sticking in your position, because some wingers, they want to go wandering when the ball's not going to their feet that often, but most of the chances that arrive to him, they've come from the other side of the field. But he's stayed in the right spot. He's forced Tete to be with him for as long as he can be before then going inside, and now as a consequence, the right pass is the one to the guy who's not touched the ball for possibly the last 2 minutes or so. There is benefit to listening to the strategy and tactics that managers can put forward to you sometimes. But, yeah.
What are you hoping to see in the second half, Joleon, from City?
It's more the same. I think that even though it's 2-1 and you can see that, I still feel it's been comfortable. I don't remember any other chances for Fulham or saves Edison's had to make.
Just a few free kicks and corners.
Yeah, so again, as long as that's the case, set pieces could be dangerous because they look like they're surrounding the goalie and anything can happen then if the ball's decent. So be mindful of that. But I expect that the tempo to be lifted a little bit in the final third for City because, like we've said, Jack's had a couple of opportunities to have better outcomes and it's been a lacklustre, so I expect the tempo to be a bit more higher and then better outcome.
So it's 2-1 for the men's team at half-time. It's also 2-1 for the women's team at half-time. Now, the women went 1-0 down after just 1 minute. I mean, we were all over, trying to keep an eye on the penalty, trying to keep an eye on what was going on. We didn't believe it, though, Izzy. We had to double-check, didn't we?
Because she didn't
believe Nedum.
She didn't believe me.
Nedum's got, I don't know, he's got some special app on his phone. He gets notifications quicker because his phone buzzed before the TV shown us. I couldn't believe it. And I thought he was lying, and I had to go on my own app and check the screen.
Why would
I don't know, I just thought you were joking.
No.
Yeah,
you gotta trust me.
He was right.
No,
he
you're
was
right not to trust him.
He could have earned the trust.
Oh, wow.
He was right. He was right. It was 1-0, and yeah, definitely against. I'm sure it's hard to say against a winner play after 1 minute, but we wouldn't be expecting Reading to take the lead after 1 minute against City. The goal was obviously a good finish from the edge of the box, but it seemed like a little bit of sloppy defending on City's behalf in and around the 18-yard and giving them a chance. And I think that was a wake-up call for them early on, and credit to the City girls who have got themselves back in at half-time.
Yeah, and when you've got players like Chloe Kelly on the pitch, Nedum, you've always got a chance. So she equalised in the 15th minute there. We can have a little look at that now, I think. Yes, we can. Yes. So here is City's equaliser from Chloe Kelly in the 15th minute. Obviously, Bunny Shaw involved there as well. But it's Chloe who gets the touch.
Well, Bunny thinks it's hers. Bunny thinks it's hers. If you see well enough, she's celebrating.
Both can't be right, can they?
Well, let's
the website gave it to Chloe.
Okay. Bunny thinks it's hers.
Actually,
You see?
I think it's Bunny's.
Either way, I think it's a City goal. So we'll take
I knew you got him on for a reason.
You see?
I thought it was Bunny because then I checked with you.
Yeah.
But the website's definitely saying Chloe will.
The trick here, by the way.
Sort it.
So,
What do you do in this situation?
well, it's funny you say that because there was once a point where I thought I scored 2 goals for City. There was once a point.
You should have known.
And one was from a corner, and it's like I headed it, and I've seen it just bounce and go in. But Carlos Tevez ran off celebrating, and in the clip, like he's just standing there, it's just brushed his foot and gone in. Yeah, you know, Carlito. But it's just. But then after the game, we were doing an interview together, and he said, "Oh, whose goal is it?" And I said, "Oh, Carlos said it's his goal, so I guess it's his goal." But I thought someone was just going to give it to me. Nah, biggest mistake ever.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
So you should claim it,
if
is what you're saying?
Asks, is it your goal?
It's yours.
It's your goal.
Yes.
There's one goal in my career, which, like, it was QPR against Leeds, first game of the season. I did not touch the ball. I said it was my goal, wheeled off celebrating, they gave it to me. They gave it to me. So, if there's a lesson to be done here, stick your hand up and run away, and you never know. You never know.
Who did you cheat a goal from?
It was actually Rob Green, might have been an own goal for him.
Oh, well, you did a nice thing.
No,
then.
I jumped up, I tried to head it. I was like, I didn't touch this, but the ball's in the net, so I said, it must have been me.
That's all right, because he didn't want an own goal on his record, does he? So
when
you
I look
did
back at the replay, though.
You know if it touched you. That's all you can say on the situation.
Yes.
Yeah, I also know I lied.
Only you know.
That's why you can't trust him.
No, I don't.
That was younger me.
Well, somebody that knows when the ball has touched them 19 times this season is Bunny Shaw, because she gets the goal for City to make it 2-1 in the 24th minute. We'll have a look at that now. Izzy, she's just phenomenal this season.
Yeah, she is a joke, and that when you're defending set pieces and planning for them against City, it's like, okay, how do you mark Bunny out of getting a first contact? You can't. Fundamentally, you can't. You've just seen that. It's a pretty simple set piece, straight into the middle of the box, and obviously Bunny just rises the highest, and she doesn't just get the first contact, but she generates enough power to get it past the goalkeeper, which is massive. And Alex Greenwood with the assist. Yeah, I am of mate and all of that, but she's a top quality player. And how often do you centre backs take?
I know, about to say, yeah, she takes a lot of set pieces, don't she? So, to be fair, she grafts. I see her in the gym a lot. She's a grafter, to be fair, Alex. Yeah.
So both the women's and the men's team lead 2-1 at half-time. Get your full match commentary for the men's game on the City app with Alistair Mann and with Andy Morrison. Watch the women's game on City Plus or Recast. Do them both as you can. We are trying here. We'll be back at full time where we'll discuss both games with you. And hopefully we'll be talking about the men's team going back to the top of the Premier League. We'll see you in 45 minutes.
Thank you, Natalie. Welcome back to Craven Cottage, where City lead by 2-1. And worth making the